The Western world, also known as the West, refers to various regions, nations and states, depending on the context, most often consisting of the majority of Europe, the Americas, and Australasia. The Western world is also known as the Occident, in contrast to the Orient or Eastern world. It might mean the northern half of the North-South divide. Ancient Greece and ancient Rome are generally considered to be the birthplaces of Western civilization, Greece having heavily influenced Rome, the former due to its impact on philosophy, democracy, science, aesthetics, as well as building designs and proportions and architecture, the latter due to its influence on art, law, warfare, governance, republicanism, engineering and religion. Western civilization is also strongly associated with Christianity, which is in turn shaped by Hellenistic philosophy and Roman culture. In the modern era, Western culture has been heavily influenced by the Renaissance, the ages of discovery and enlightenment, and the industrial and scientific revolutions. Through extensive imperialism, colonialism and Christianization by some Western powers in the 15th to 20th centuries and later, exportation of mass culture, much of the rest of the world has been extensively influenced by Western culture. In a phenomenon often called Westernization, the concept of the Western part of the earth has its roots in the theological, methodological and emphatical division between the Western Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches. West was originally literal, opposing Catholic Europe with the cultures and civilizations of Orthodox Europe, West Asia and North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia and East Asia, which early modern Europeans saw as the East by the mid-20th century. Western culture was exported worldwide through the emergent mass media, film, radio, television and recorded music, and the development and growth of international transport and telecommunication played a decisive role in modern globalization. In modern usage, Western world sometimes refers to Europe and to areas whose populations have had a large presence of particular European ethnic groups since the 15th century age of discovery. This is most evident in Australia and New Zealand's inclusion in modern definitions of the Western world, despite being part of the Eastern Hemisphere. These regions and those like it are included due to its significant British influence deriving from the colonization of British explorers and the immigration of Europeans in the 20th century, which has since grounded the country to the Western world politically and culturally. Western culture was influenced by many older civilizations of the ancient Near East, such as Phoenicia, Palestine, Mano and Crete, Sumer, Babylonia, and also ancient Egypt. It originated in the Mediterranean basin and its vicinity. Ancient Greece and Rome are often cited as its birthplaces. Over time, their associated empire grew first to the east and west to include the rest of Mediterranean and Black Sea coastal areas, conquering and absorbing. Later, they expanded to the north of the Mediterranean Sea to include Western, Central, and Southeastern Europe. Christianization of Ireland, Christianization of Scandinavia and Christianization of Lithuania brought the rest of present-day European territory into Western civilization. Historians, such as Carol Quigley in The Evolution of Civilizations, contend that Western civilization was born around AD 500, after the total collapse of the Western Roman Empire, leaving a vacuum for new ideas to flourish that were impossible in classical societies. In either view, between the fall of the Western Roman Empire and the Renaissance, the West experienced a period of first considerable decline, and then readaptation, reorientation and considerable renewed material, technological and political development. This whole period of roughly a millennium is known as the Middle Ages. Its early part forming the Dark Ages, designations that were created during the Renaissance and reflect the perspective on history and the self-image of the latter period. The knowledge of the ancient Western world was partly preserved during this period due to the survival of the Eastern Roman Empire and the introduction of the Catholic Church. It was also greatly expanded by the Arab importation of both the ancient Greco-Roman and new technology through the Arabs from India and China to Europe. Since the Renaissance, the West evolved beyond the influence of the ancient Greeks and Romans and the Islamic world. Due to the successful second agricultural, commercial, scientific, and industrial revolutions, the West rose further with the 18th century's Age of Enlightenment and through the Age of Exploration's expansion of peoples of Western and Central European Empire, particularly the globe-spanning colonial empire of 18th and 19th centuries. Numerous times, this expansion was accompanied by ca.